Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma and this here is my little craft corner where I talk about knitting and sometimes other yarn related stuff. But today I wanted to share with you 8 patterns that kind of intimidate me still. I've been knitting for 1.5 years, so I've done a lot of things and I've done a lot of scary things, or things that seem scary in the beginning but turn out to be fine. There are still quite a few patterns that intimidate me, or quite a few pattern construction ways that intimidate me, and I wanted to talk about it today. If you've been watching some of my other videos, you might notice that the lighting is a bit different. My microphone is here now and the background is a bit different. I cannot say a lot more than we're just dealing with it today. I'm at my parents again, so I'm dealing with what I have on hand here, and next week hopefully we'll be back to normal. So let's get into the first pattern, or the first category of patterns, that is construction ways. So weird construction ways, or construction ways that I'm not really familiar with. And first of all, I have a pattern to illustrate this. It's the Fancy Edvard sweater by Colorwork by Johanna, which I'll pop up over here. And this is intimidating to me because it is worked sideways first, and then you have to pick up a lot of stitches and do it knit vertically or normally again, and that just scares me a bit. I know it will be fine and it's just picking up stitches, but it's just terrifying to me that there's like sideways construction and then vertical construction, and it's just, there's a lot going on here and I'm scared to do it, but I love the finished product. So I think I might bite the bullet and knit this maybe in the upcoming year, maybe in a year or something. But I really love how this pattern looks and I really want it, but the construction way is just a bit confusing and terrifying to me, especially how you'll measure what size you want to knit, or how you will judge whether it's like turning out to be the correct size that you want to have if it's sideways first. I don't know how that works and I'm terrified by it, but we're gonna do it eventually, I think. Then I have another pattern by Moby by Johanna. I've knit multiple of her patterns and everything has turned out to be fine, but she does some very interesting things, and that's as well with this Pauline sweater by her. And this is very interesting because it has the raglan increases in the middle instead of on the sides where you would expect the raglan increases to be. So that kind of makes that V shape with all the striping things going on. And you think that's really interesting, but it's also going to be really confusing because it seems as if the raglan, like the increases, are going to be all throughout the body. So that's a bit, how does that work? And it intimidates me, and it's just mind-boggling to me how she even came up with this construction type, or the idea to construct a sweater this way, because I could never, but this is also something that I would love to knit. Maybe at the end of this year when winter comes around. I don't have the yarn for it currently, and I'm trying to knit with what I have this year more than buying a lot of new things, and buying a sweater quantity is a bit much. So I don't know if it will make my 2023 knitting, but it might be 2024, early 2024, so winter of next year. I don't know, this is just an incredible construction way that I would love to try out. And I would love to, knit this one day, but as of now, I am super intimidated by it. Then I have there's a category of knitting instructions that terrify me. That's just one sweater, and I have this in my queue to knit up fall of this year, somewhere around there. And that is the Moby sweater by Petite Knit. This is a fully charted pattern, I've heard, and fully charted patterns, or just following charts, terrifies me a bit. It will absolutely be alright. I have knit with charts before, but fully charted with barely any instructions along the way, that's scary. Especially with all the cables going on and all the interesting things. It's going to be quite something to knit this, but I cannot wait to do it and to tackle this technique of doing a fully charted pattern. But as of now, it is scary, and yeah. But this is something I'm going to be tackling soon-ish, like fall of this year, maybe late summer, because I really want to have this around Christmas time or when it gets very cold to just snuggle up in. I already have bought the yarn last year at the Breidagen, at the Handwerkbeurs early this year. Lots of knitting fairs going on. So I have the yarn in my home, I just need to knit it still. Then I have a colorwork section. This colorwork in general terrifies me, but these two knitting patterns especially terrify me. Because first of all, I have the Friesland shawl, and my Dutchies will know Friesland is a province in the Netherlands. Friesland, as we call it. And it's just this. I'll pop up a picture here because I cannot in words explain to you what this pattern looks like, but here is the full picture. Wow. It is a shawl, and I think it uses so many colors. Let me see if I can. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It uses 26 colors. That's intimidating, and it's very, very detailed. I love this so much, and I don't think I would wear a shawl like this, but I would, if I ever knit this, I would just display it in my house. It will be a display piece, or maybe like, it almost feels blankety, but not quite. I think if you just knit like the swan that's on the bottom of the V, so over here, I think if you just knit full stripes of everything, it will be a very nice kind of blanket thing. I don't know, but this, if I ever knit this, I'm not terrified of colorwork or of any pattern ever again, because wow, there is so much detail. There again are 26 colors in this. You're knitting swans and boats and fish. I see cows, buildings entirely, rabbits are there as well, windmills, clouds, everything. It's just a whole Dutch landscape. And as a Dutchie, I kind of feel like I just have to have this, or I really, really, really want to have this. And I really want to make this, but I know it's going to take me like 10 plus years to do so. So I'm not really ready for that yet. I think I would want to have a lot of scraps, because I think it is fingering weight, this pattern. Let me just check. It is on needle size 3.5 millimeters, so that's basically fingering weight shawl that you're knitting. I think I just collect scraps throughout my life, and then eventually when I'm old and retired, I will buy this pattern and knit this shawl, because it's going to take a lot of work, and I do not have the time or energy or yarn to put in this. So this is going to be for a very, very future. But it's just incredibly difficult pattern, and this, I think this, I should have ended with this pattern, because wow, this terrifies me. Another colorwork pattern that terrifies me, which is not as terrifying, but it is the Spot Sweater by Anne Wenzel, and this terrifies me because it is colorwork. It is such a detailed colorwork that if you mess up like by one stitch, you will notice. You will notice when there's like one stitch that you did, that you swapped around the colors in. But it is a super, super gorgeous pattern. So eventually I will bite the bullet and knit this. But not for now, because it kind of terrifies me. And colorwork in general scares me. So a full sweater, then I think the biggest gap here is like 7 stitches or something. Just constantly switching colors. I do not knit continentally, or I cannot knit with yarn held with both hands at the same time. So I will have to drop the yarn, pick up another yarn, knit a few stitches, drop, pick up. So it's going to be very, very tedious. So first I would like to learn the technique of doing color work with 2 hands, and then I will tackle maybe this pattern, because it is super intimidating if I don't already have that technique. But this is just gorgeous. I'm looking at my laptop here, by the way, so if you see me looking down, this is why. But this is super intimidating for now, because I don't know the technique of knitting with both hands at the same time. But in the future this might not be as intimidating. Likewise with the Moby sweater, or the Pauline sweater, or the Edvard sweater. It's not going to be intimidating once I've knit this, but for now it is super intimidating because I do not have the skill set to knit all these patterns yet. Then I have the final category is design elements. So design elements that scare me. First of all, it is lots of cables, and that I found in the Handsome Creates Pullover by Karin Schaffer. This just has a ton of different cables. There are cables that are woven into each other. There are cables that are just a regular 2x2 or 1x1 cable. But it is a lot, and there's a lot going on at the same time. And I am currently knitting the folklore cardigan, and that is, I think, 4 different cables going on at the same time, or 4 cable charts to keep track of. And that is doable now that I am doing it, but this is just a step up, and it scares me. It is such a beautiful sweater though. I don't know if I'll ever knit it, because I don't think it's really my style. So maybe if I really, really, really love someone and they really, really, really want this pattern, I might knit it for them. But I don't think it's just not super high on my own wish list. Like, of course, I would love to have this. I watched the movie Knives Out with my yarn club, or my clubhouse from the Mindful Creators from Fem. Last week we watched this movie together, so I now get the reference of the sweater. But still, it is not super high on my list because it's just not my style to wear. So I don't think I should be knitting this right now, because I'm just not going to be gravitating towards it that much when I've knitted up. I don't know, but this might be a future knit, but for now it is just to illustrate. I am scared of doing lots of cables at the same time. Then I have the Masters of Stone Lace Shawl by Anna Victoria. This is just to illustrate I am intimidated by lace. I just done my first lace project, or I'm currently knitting my first lace project. I did a sleeve already of the Amadeo summer sweater by Colorwork by Johanna for a test knit, and it was lace work, it was charted, so I tackled some of those things. Obviously it wasn't as much lace work and as much charting. It's just yarn over here and there, as is every lace pattern, I think. But this just is a step up, and I don't know if I can ever knit this, because I don't know if I have the patience for it. But a lace shawl is just I believe something that I just want to tackle once. To just have knit a lace shawl in my life. I feel like that's just a box you need to tick off. And I don't know if I will wear it that much. Maybe on whenever I have something fancy going on, I will. But it is not super high. Like same reasons as with the Handsome Crisp pullover. It's not super high because I'm not gravitated towards it whenever it will be in my wardrobe, I think. But it is something that I feel like I have to knit or have to knit a lace pattern once in my life, or a lace shawl, just to have that done and under my belt, because it is super beautiful. And I would love to have one lace shawl that I can wear on fancy occasions and just be like, oh, I knit this, or to have it displayed somewhere. But I'm not really much of a shawl wearer or a decorative scarf wearer either, so I don't know. It's not super high on my list, but I feel like I will knit a lace shawl once in my life, but for now I am scared of it. Then I have the final thing that I'm scared of, which is a 2-in-1, basically, because it is the Great Gingham Raglan by Jessie May Designs. And this terrifies me for 2 ways. First of all, as you've already seen probably, it is colorwork. It is a lot of colorwork. It is complicated colorwork with, I believe it is just 2 colors, but the lighter color is variegated, but there's a lot to keep track of with this colorwork pattern. And I've just told you how colorwork makes me feel when I don't knit with both hands. It is very tedious. But this also scares me because it is knit bottom up. I have knit, I believe, a camisole or 2 bottom up. I hate it. I always misjudge how long I should make the body before splitting for the sleeves. And with a raglan bottom up, I believe you're knitting the body first and then the sleeves separately, and then you knit them like together and do, I don't know how it works, and it terrifies me. I'm not ready to find out how it works yet, but it is a pretty cute sweater, and I would love to have this sweater. I think I would wear this, so it is higher on my list than the Handsome Crisp or the Masters of Stone lace shawl. It's just not really something. I'm just scared of it. So it's not something I'm going to be knitting this year. It might not be something I'm going to be knitting next year, but it is something that I'm keeping in the back of my mind at all times, to know that I want to have this, but I don't know how to knit it, and that scares me a lot. But yeah, those were the 8 patterns that scare me, or the 4 techniques that scare me, or however you want to view this. This is just some things that scare me as someone who has only been knitting for 1.5 years and really wants to have done it all, but is scared of doing lots of difficult things. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like down below. Please comment down below what your fears are when knitting, what you're intimidated by, and I will see you guys again real soon. Bye!